you usually post 2 articles per week on our website, and these articles are currently being shared on LinkedIn, ICTN's page, and on your personal page on LinkedIn. So we have decided that the Unvarnished Conversations will discuss the articles being posted and published on LinkedIn and our websites. And these conversations will also be published on YouTube. One of the topics that captured my attention is a recent topic about the future of leadership, integrating AI in management.
Yep. I think that's a really great approach because a lot of these articles bring up topics that are current, that are important, that impact the most significant activity we do as human beings, and that is leadership. Whether it's leadership on a small scale or leadership on a large scale, our decisions affect other people, affect their lives, affect their futures, affect their health. So yes, I think how do we integrate AI into the leadership of whatever function we perform is important to think about. You know, convenience, the easy way out can be very risky.
Correct. And here's my question. So you mentioned in the article that final accountability rests with the human leaders. And you were just discussing about the sensitivity of making decisions when you make a decision to integrate AI into your organization. So how do leaders ensure and understand that their informed decisions are not heavily influenced by AI, especially during crisis when a decision has to be made very quickly?
People sometimes think that AI is more intelligent than humans. Somehow this artificial intelligence elevates you, and it doesn't. What it does is it gives you efficiency, not necessarily effectiveness. Efficiency meaning it's fast. It can deal with a lot of information. Fast analysis gives you data. It does not give you judgment. And that is where the confusion sometimes lies. It's convenient. Being accountable, being responsible is a huge load on the shoulder of a leader because there are consequences to your actions if you're aware of it. And if you're a leader, surely you're aware. So giving up your judgment, giving up your insight, giving up your ability as a leader to convenience because AI provides a quick answer is something that we need to be very, very careful about because it's programmed by humans. And humans have bias, and bias is integrated into the programming very often. So it's a wonderful thing to have. It's a fantastic tool, but we need to look at it just like we look at anything else. Evaluate, monitor, not surrender our judgment.
So as you mentioned that AI provides quick answers. So here we're talking about efficiency. And when businesses decide to integrate AI into their organization, they're looking for optimization, they're looking for efficiency, they're looking for predictions, such as, especially in industries that has to do with financial industries. So and sometimes these metrics can decharacterize a human relationship, human empathy, and other, human values. So how can leaders actively prevent AI from undermining these human-centric values?
That's a great perspective. When we decide anything in our everyday lives based on cold logic and only on cold logic, without taking into consideration the impact on human beings, we are losing a huge part of our humanity and our human purpose. And the question is, can we really live in a world of cold logic? And I think the answer is no. Cold logic by itself is as dangerous as excessive emotional and irrational approaches to decision making. We need that balance. We cannot move forward based on, okay, this is the best. And optimal is a very good word. You use the word optimization. Optimization means not necessarily the best, not necessarily the most cost effective, not necessarily the cheapest or the fastest or the most profitable. What optimization means is the best balance between logic and between the human impact of that decision. Because if you don't mobilize people, if you don't have their commitment and their engagement and their willingness to do what needs to be done, you don't have an optimal solution. So optimal means finding the best balance between the two. And that's what we need to keep in mind. We do not give up our humanity. We do not do foolish things. We do not surrender just to cold logic because it's profitable. It's dangerous when we do that.
And here we cannot talk about this and omit a very important aspect which you have mentioned in the article, which is ensure ethical AI deployment.
Yes.
Where you maintain human oversight in AI-driven decisions. And that's very
Absolutely. And I think it would be good to share with our audience what are some of the things we can do. Bias is there. The people who are putting in the program and the criteria for selection and decision making are putting in their biases, not necessarily intentionally, but we all have bias. We live with bias. And we're transferring and amplifying the normal biases we have into algorithms that are created, which then operate accordingly. That's why we need to make sure that there is adequate oversight. Maybe we just share those recommendations at the end, and then our viewers can go back and look at them in greater detail. We need to have very well thought out and constantly developing guidelines for managing AI integration into our businesses and into our leadership decision making.
Thank you very much. Until the next conversation.